Hi guys. My name is Denise, and I am a health freedom activist in California. Not too long ago, I came across a thread that spoke about vaccine injury and our military. And during this thread, it was incredibly sad to see all of the veterans who were hurt by this and who really had nowhere to turn after this happened. So I decided to do a series about our veterans, our military, and the vaccine injury that has happened, or what they saw. What were they told? What could possibly happen? Were they told the adverse reactions? And what what did they see? So I have a guest on who I've invited to come and speak. Um, I know maybe about 2 weeks ago I read his email, and it was he was allergic to penicillin, and he was still given the vaccines when he should not have been given the vaccines. So I'm bringing him on. James, if you're watching this, I sent you an invitation to join. Just click accept, and it is going to bring you on a split screen. Make sure your phone is rotated so we can get you on, so we can talk about what you've seen, what's happened with our military. And, earlier I did a video on how to exempt yourself from vaccines if you are in the military and active duty. So it was a lot of information, and our veterans, our military deserve better than what they're getting. They deserve a whole hell of a lot better than what they're getting. So I'm also going to be putting up a link of a movie dedicated to veterans, so that way you're aware of what's going on. His email made me cry. And James, if you can accept the invitation, let me try it one more time. Let's see. Where are you? James, here we go. Add. Which connection did you not hear about? And I'll be happy to share. Okay, there we go. Hi, finally. So I think you are muffled. There's a background noise. Do you have earphones open?
I do.
So I know. I read your email to everybody. And it was incredibly sad, very much made me upset, and it made everybody else upset.
Is that any better?
So let me see. I know we have a lot of feedback. Yes, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
All right, James. So if you want to introduce yourself, what branch you were in, and how long you served, if you're active, and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm James, obviously. I was active duty Army. I did about 3.5 years, roughly, in my active duty contract, and then went to the reserves side for about 2 years after that, which I separated from in 2017, early 2017,
Okay.
late 2018.
So I got your email, and it was incredibly disturbing. If you want to, not a lot, some people did not see that. There was a lot of views on it, but if you want to talk about, kind of recap what that was, what you experienced, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. All right, there we go. Basically, my girlfriend has been following you for a while, and she mentioned to me that you were doing this and said you should email her. So in that, I just kind of described that I'm allergic to amoxicillin. If you're allergic to that, you're allergic to anything in that penicillin amoxicillin family. My allergy is pretty severe to it. It touches my skin, I start breaking out, it starts swelling, it burns. So when I went into the military, the first place you go with the Army is what they call the reception battalion. It's where you do all your paperwork, all your medical exams, all that stuff. Um, During this time, you go through and get your vaccines. Um, they don't tell you what they are. They don't tell you how many you're getting. They don't tell you what the effects might be. They don't tell you anything. You stand in a line. Um, you'll get a shot in each arm, sometimes two in each arm. Just kind of depends, I guess. I don't know. Um, I had a red dog tag with my regular dog tags, and that shows that you have an allergy. Um, One of the medical officers or NCOs there noticed that dog tag and asked what my allergy was. And I told him, it's amoxicillin. Um, One of the vaccines you get is a penicillin shot. They call it the peanut butter shot because of how thick it is, I guess. Um, and when they told me, well, we have this shot that has penicillin in it, you're gonna get it. And I told them, I can't, I can't get it. I'm severely allergic. And they told me that they wanted to see what would happen. Um, and was told to drop my pants, and I got a shot in my butt. um, it it was very painful for me. I don't know how painful it is for everyone else. I know guys that say, oh, it's sore, it doesn't feel good, but I had an almost immediate reaction to it. Um, One that I ended up in the hospital for. Um, you know, and then throughout your course of your enlistment, you get boosters and additional vaccines and things like that. If your records are lost, you get them again. Um, I know I got some vaccines, and about a month later, it came up on record that I needed to get them. I was late. And when I told them, no, I just got them a month ago, I went down to the clinic with the other guys, with everybody else. And they said, well, there's no record of it. You're getting them again. I got them again. Um, I had a pretty good friend, which I think I mentioned in the email as well, um, that I met through a veterans page on Facebook. Um, it was during a pretty rough time in my life. Um, I was actually laying in a hospital bed after an attempted suicide, and he was really the only person that was there for me. He also was active duty Army. He was also an infantryman with a different unit. Um, he got the anthrax vaccine series at least once prior to his. Through that vaccine, he contracted what's called ALS. I'm sure most people are familiar with it, Lou Gehrig's disease. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Within a year of that diagnosis, he was gone. Completely paralyzed in a wheelchair. His wife had to do everything for him. Um, there was documentation that anthrax vaccine was linked to medical issues, including ALS and death. I saw that memo myself, and I can't find it anymore. It was acknowledged by the VA, the Veterans Administration, as well as active duty medical groups. But like I said, I can't find it anywhere, and I don't know anybody who can. Uh, Allergies. I never had seasonal allergies once in my life until that spring. I went to Georgia basic training in January. So I went during the winter. When that spring came around, I had the worst allergies. It was miserable. Everybody was sick, very very sick. I've never seeing that many people at the same time in the same place that sick. Since I absolutely refused to get the vaccines and boosters right just before I separated the reserves, the allergies got less and less, and this year I haven't had them at all. I feel perfectly fine now. During my active duty time, and even afterwards, I was very aggressive. I was always just right on that edge of just blowing up and losing it. I was severely depressed, obviously. Anxiety through the roof, which I still feel a lot of anxiety and depression now, but it's a lot. It's manageable now. I'm good.
Good.
But I saw a video a while back from a veteran. I can't remember his name now. I wish I could. That's very anti-vaccines, that mentioned heavy metals and how they can affect your mental health and your emotional state. And while I'm watching this video, it all just started making a lot more sense. He was talking about things that I've experienced myself. I'm sure there's people out there who were much more affected by these vaccines than I was, but I think what you're doing is awesome.
Thank you.
It's hard to look at the before of what I allowed to happen, because we were always told that vaccines are good for you. It's all that's gonna protect you from being sick and dying. When in reality, now that I look at it more, the military used us, and they still do every day. Where we're guinea pigs, I guess, is the best I can come up with. And the number of active duty service members that are against vaccines would blow your mind. But the thing that is hardest to see with that is they don't know that they have that choice. When I was separating reserves and I refused the vaccines, I was threatened with courts-martial, which is basically a military trial. I was threatened with losing an honorable discharge. I was threatened with my contract being extended so I could do 45 days of extra duty, forfeiting all pay, which is fine considering I didn't get paid by the reserves anyway. But along with losing that honorable discharge, you lose your benefits, including your GI Bill, your medical, any kind of financial compensation for service-related injuries. I was even told that I wouldn't be allowed to leave until I got the vaccines, and I told them, watch me. I'm an infantryman. That's where we don't put up with junk, especially from people who don't know the first thing about anything. It took me an entire day of standing in front of officers and high-ranking individuals and high-ranked enlisted individuals, telling them the same thing over and over again. I don't care. I'm not getting them. You can take my rank. You can take my pay. You can give me a courts-martial. I don't care. And that was early on in my my own realization of what vaccines can actually do to you. And now,
do you get any help from
I'm
the
thankful
VA
regarding like service-related injuries or
injuries from the vaccines, from whatever long-term effects that you have?
it's not noted that they're specifically vaccine related. I feel like now, knowing what I know now, I feel like they may be. Um, I'm rated at a 40% disability for severe manic depression and anxiety disorders. Um, you know, uh, like I said in my email, I believe mental health issues are a real thing. It's PTSD, depression, all of that. They're legitimate things, um, and it's definitely something that I've dealt with for a majority of my life. But it did get much, much, much worse while I was in the military. Um, there was nights that I would call my team leader or my squad leader, bawling my eyes out, telling them I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. And then after separating active duty, I threw down about, I don't know, 30 Percocet and probably about 30 Adderall and chased them with a half a fifth of vodka. Um, and I have kids. That's not something that I ever really wanted to follow through with. But given the things I was going through in that time period in my life, and I just couldn't take it anymore. And that's not like me. If you know me day to day, and you see how I deal with things, I don't let stress and depression and these things get to me. I'm stronger than that, and I broke. Whether that's vaccine related or not, I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me at this point. But in answer to your original question, yeah, I get money every month. That's all I get. When I was going for mental health issues, wanting to talk to people, they just wanted to throw pills at me. Here's some trazodone to help you sleep so you don't have nightmares anymore. But it made me feel like trash. Here's some antidepressants, and just made me feel like I was in a fog. And here's some anti-anxiety medication, and they gave me 5 prescriptions they wanted me to take every day. I took for maybe a week and said, forget, I'm done with it. I can't do this. I don't want to take pills my entire life. I don't want to go through every day of my life feeling like I'm disconnected. And that was their solution. That's the VA solution to everything. Mm-hmm. Throw pills at it. Whether it's a physical disability or a mental health disability or anything, that's their solution. So there's nothing saying that it's a vaccine related injury, but I can say without a shadow of a doubt,
of course not,
because I know me, that I strongly believe that there's a connection there.
We have a lot of military who are on the same page as you are. And, where a lot of people think that this whole vaccine thing is just a whole bunch of crazy mothers who are reading junk science. But I can tell you from what you've described, a lot of our military come back because of these vaccines. It's noted, it's science, it's current science, it's irrefutable science. And this is making me so angry because, like I said in my last interview, we focus on kids. We focus on the children's schedule, but you guys are our first line of vaccine takers. And this is important. And I want to thank you for telling your story, because we have tons of military people who have not connected the dots yet. And who have not said.
Sorry. I will say one thing.
It's fine.
The only vaccine I did not get, because I was ineligible for it because I had kids, was the smallpox vaccine. And if there's anyone watching right now, yes, and I'll explain why. And anyone watching right now who is active military, veteran, whatever, and doesn't understand why, if you have small children, you can't get that, consider the people in your unit who do get it, or they just got it. Ask them to see the injection site. It is a giant festering, infected wound. It's nasty. The reason why you can't get it if you have small children is because they will get smallpox. Not might, not could, they will get smallpox. And at the time, I didn't understand why that was an issue. But now that I understand what shedding is, I get why that's an issue. I just wanted to add that, you know.
That's important. We
You
have a
have
lot
that.
of yeah. We have a lot of people who deny shedding. They they deny that that's even a thing. We know it's a thing, and you guys know it's a thing. What areas did you deploy to that they gave you smallpox, or was this just a regular just a vaccine that's in the line?
That's a regular routine vaccine, same as HIV. There is apparently a vaccine for HIV the military will give you. You do every,
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's every 6 months or a year. HIV, smallpox, really any kind of disease that they say is eradicated, you're getting a vaccine for. There's no way around that. If you're active duty and you deny that, your career is done. Whether it's a legitimate reason or not, your career is done. Unless you can get an exemption. But good luck with that. That's all I can say.
Actually,
Good luck.
I spoke with someone who was, I think, 15 years, and he gave direction for how to get an exemption. He successfully got it, and it should be said to every single military veteran who's entering that this is provided. He gave step by steps and the citations for it. So it's sad that people feel they have to and they have no choice to do this.
They don't tell you have any kind of choice. They don't tell you what you're getting. They don't tell you anything about it. I don't know what vaccines I got. I don't know what they injected into me. I don't know what the long-term effects are going to be. I have no idea. And that's the scariest part. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old, all boys. I don't know if I'm going to be there in 10 years or not. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up off the couch in 10 years to go play with them. It's already hard enough as it is with the physical issues I have from the military. How do I know I'm not going to end up with ALS? How do I know that I'm not going to end up with some other kind of medical problem because of those? Because I don't know what I got, and they're not in my medical records. Because they were lost. And I can't tell you how many other people I served with that their vaccine records were lost. It was a regular thing.
I've heard that a lot.
Every other day, somebody else is going down to the TMC, the Troop Medical Clinic, because their vaccine record was lost. We don't know what we got or how much of it we got. And like I said, we don't know what those effects are going to be. And there's nowhere we can go.
Have you spoken to anybody about there are therapies that you can do, and I'm going to send it to you when we get off. We have a really great community that it's a great community of parents who have watched their children suffer from injuries, and anywhere from viral encephalopathy to just chronic illnesses. Like my kids have chronic illnesses due to their vaccines, and there's hope to kind of help your body cope with what happened. And we have tons of people viewing right now, and I know I'm going to get hit with a lot of information that I can send you. There's ways to do it. You don't have to be stuck in the not knowing. I know that's the worst part.
There's this spray thing that Ashley, my girlfriend, found. I believe she said it's supposed to help remove heavy metals. I forget what it's called. She knows. If she's watching, I'm sure she'll comment on it. If you are, hey hun, I'm at work, so um, it's
there's with the community that we have, people like us, people like you, people like the moms that have dealt with this, they're kind of on their own. Doctors tell parents, well, that's just what it is. Take them home, and this is what you give. And I know a lot of people are saying TRS is a heavy metal detox, and
that's it.
this is the TRS. Yeah. So I mean,
Yes, that's it.
There's hope. Yeah, there's hope, and I really hope that I can get you the information that you need, because our military deserves so much better than this. I don't even know what's going to happen in 10 years down the road when we have injured children and injured veterans and nobody to protect us. So I will send you that information, and your girlfriend is on track with that TRS spray. That's but, it's a process, and this is infuriating.
It's very frustrating, and it's irritating, and it's like you said, it's the not knowing. That's the scariest part. And it's hard to talk to her about that. Because up until almost 3 years ago, when she and I fought, and I mean fought, about getting our son vaccinated. It was a big one. I was very for it, and she was very against it. And I don't remember what it was she said or sent me or whatever, but I started thinking about it. And, things started making sense with my 7-year-old, and myself. And it's hard to talk to her about these things. With the kids is one thing. With me, it's another. Because it's my job to be there, and to be strong, and to be the glue. And if I'm showing that fear of uncertainty, how can I be that glue? You know what I mean? So it's frustrating is the biggest thing I think I can say, because it's not knowing. Am I going to be able to be there and work and provide? And exactly.
We have an entire community, James, who's going to stand behind you. This is what I wanted to get our veterans on here, because there's a lot that don't understand, haven't connected the dots, or they feel like they're by themselves. Like, I'm crazy. These vaccines could not have done this to me. They're safe and effective. The bumper sticker, they're safe and effective. The fact is, they are not safe and effective. They have never been safe and effective. And we're starting to see the repercussions of what's happening for the past, 30-something years of zero liability to these manufacturers, and the 90% rate that the military needs in order to be compliant. You're not by yourself. You're going to have an entire community after this who's going to stalk you. They're going to be your friend. They're going to send you the information.
That's part of the hard part too, is feeling alone. Sorry. I think there's a little delay in this. I'm sorry if I'm interrupting you.
No, you're okay.
It's the feeling alone part, because when you're active duty, especially in a combat arms job, the infantrymen, the tinkers, those guys that were told and trained and beat into our heads that our left and the guy to our right is our brother, and you will lay down your life for him, and I will, in a heartbeat, whether they agree with me or not. Because I think I told you this, I am exceedingly proud of my service. I will always brag and boast about the fact that I earned a blue cord, which is the marker of an Army infantryman. And you have this mentality that you'll be there for each other until the day you die, whether you are still in the military or not. You're brothers. But you have this issue that scares the hell out of you, that you can't talk to these brothers about anymore, because they will tear you apart. And they'll tell you that you and your kids don't deserve to live anymore. When those guys are all you had in the darkest times of your life. And now they're not there anymore. Because you're crazy. It's lonely.
You're
Sorry.
not. No, you know what? You're talking to, there's about 100 people watching right now, and you're talking to mothers and fathers who have fought for their children and who fought for themselves and who've been called crazy and who've been called stupid and who've been, every single day I get people who tell me they hope my children die. Every single day I have somebody tell me, you're lucky that I don't find you, I'm going to shoot you in the face. Every single day. And it's the mentality of, we are so indoctrinated. We have to, in order for people to understand what this is, they have to unlearn everything they've learned. Every lie they've been told, everything that we believed was true, and it's not. None of it's true. It's all a lie. But you're not by yourself. Every day we're called crazy. Every day we're called, you own that shit, man. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I am, because I learned the truth. You know, it's a lonely road, this road. I'm going to tell you it is. It's an emotional road, and it tears you apart. It tears you apart. But like so many people like Melissa on here, we believe you. We believe what this is. We know what this is. We've seen it. We see it every single day. You're not by yourself, and you're not crazy. And this did happen to you.
Yeah.
And we're going to help you. All these people on here, we're going to help you get, have Ashley message me, and we'll get you on a road if you want to accept it. But we believe
Ashley
what
would love to
happened to
message
you.
you. Ashley fangirls over you.
Yeah, tell her.
When
I'll give you my phone
when you
number,
sent
give
me
it
a
to
friend
her
request,
so we can,
when you sent me a friend request last week or whatever, she saw it and goes, I'm jealous.
Well, I'll send her one. You give her my phone number, and we'll get
I
you
will.
on the road. But you're not by yourself, and I really appreciate you coming on here and telling people what happened. And I appreciate your service. I'm a patriot. I love my country. I love my servicemen. I love my servicewomen. But this is disgusting, and this needs to stop. This lying to our military, and then there's no help. There's no help. This is unacceptable in the United States. Unacceptable.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna get you the information if you want it. But
I do.
You have a huge community. We got you.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to just kind of talk about it, share a little bit about my little bit. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure there's people out there who have dealt with much worse and are, or Josh, but I think
we all have our story.
Every story is important, as it all sheds a little bit more light.
Absolutely. Everybody, even if mothers who don't have vaccine injured children, they still speak about it, because everybody's story matters. It all matters. The only way that we're going to even touch this, to even get to some kind of justice for our families, is to talk about it and to let people know that this is real. This happened. We're not crazy. We're not making things up. Vaccines are not safe and effective for everybody. And there should be a choice in every single entity, in schools, in military, in work, in life. This should not be mandated. This is our bodies. We are sovereign. So before I start crying, I'm going to, I cried when I read your email, and it was heartbreaking.
I
So
saw that
I'm going to
video.
get you that
I appreciate
information.
you sharing that. Thank you. I
I'm going to
appreciate
get you
that. I
that.
really do.
And, of course, I appreciate you messaging me. This is something that, every day I say I'm going to get out of. Every day I tell people I'm not doing this anymore. It tears me apart. Like every story takes a piece of my soul, because I relate. I have children. I have family. My family's in the military. So with that, I'm going to say thank you again for the interview and for your service. And I'm going to send you that information, and I'm going to give Ashley my phone number.
I will. I'm sure she'll be
right.
asking me for it here shortly. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So thank you again. I appreciate you coming on, and I'll keep in touch with you. Okay, you message me if you need anything.
All right. Thank you.
Like a comb
You have
or
a good
something.
night.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
I'm gonna
too.
go get some
All
food
right.
and then get some sleep. So
Just kidding.
thank you.
All right. Have a good night. Bye bye.